Howdy, howdy!
Hello.
And welcome to...
But it was aliens.
You stole my bit! The paranormal comedy podcast where we probe allegedly true paranormal events to determine whether they were alleged or true. My name is Kev.
Papa John!
Or if you listen to my co-host... Well, I was going to say Greybeard, but Papa John apparently. And that co-host alongside me with no idea what's coming up in this episode today is Mr. Granville Moonwalker.
Hi.
Today, we are staying in England as we head back to the 1800s. At this point in time, train tracks and canals were the lifeblood of the United Kingdom. Industry. You know what can disrupt industry? A giant funkin' monkey. That's what. Let us travel to Shropshire Union Canal, 1878. As we've mentioned giant monkeys, today, alongside the case just for funsies, I'm going to reel off, not monkey, but some primate great ape gorilla facts. Gorillas can't swim. And gorillas don't eat bananas, so Nintendo ballsed up with Donkey Kong.
I'm laughing and you'll find out why later. Do they not? I mean, I know they don't in terms of, like, they'll go for vegetation and greens and everything like that when you see in the wild. But would they not eat a banana, or do they just choose, or they just don't eat them because they're not there?
I have it on good authority that if
not
you
part of their
hand
diet.
a gorilla a banana, it will ram it straight up your arse.
That's happened to Kev, as he has that on good authority.
That's why I walk with a limp on Saturdays and Sundays.
He tried it in a zoo. Didn't work out too well for him.
Yeah, that zookeeper experience is wild.
I reckon if you type in zookeeper gorilla banana
Fun.
on Google, it'll come up with the incident from some paper.
A gif of me, my arms waving in the air with a gorilla's hand up me. Banana somewhere, not to be seen.
Treat you like a ventriloquist. Is that why you're so good at monkey noises?
Monkey noises, but not gorilla noises. They got more of a roar to them, haven't they?
Suppose they have, yeah. That is quite true.
Shropshire, or Shropshire, for those of you from the Shire, Shropshire Union Canal was constructed by Scottish engineer Thomas Telford in the year 1828. Let us head back. It was the evening of the 8th of December, 1878. Christmas trees were up. The ceremony at the town hall to turn on the Christmas lights had just taken place. The Coca-Cola lorry was pulling in. This was a good time.
Holidays are coming. Holidays are coming.
In Shropshire's Marley Wood, a lady, allegedly by the name of Doris, according to me, popped to see her neighbour. It was to be a fleeting visit, and so Doris left her front door ajar as Doris popped in next door. Mistake! Gorillas were considered cryptids, human-like monsters that couldn't possibly be real until 1847, when Thomas Savage found gorilla bones in Liberia.
Thomas Savage.
Savage, yes. That's crazy recent, isn't it? People thought gorillas were cryptids until that recently.
I mean, they do.
They do what, sorry? Where were you going there?
I was going to say something, but you decided to have a drink, so I'd see if I could psych you out whilst you were drinking.
You psyched yourself out.
I mean, they do live quite deep in the jungle, don't they? So unless you're...
I've only ever seen them on that zoo experience.
Unless you're really exploring the deep jungle, were you really going to see a gorilla at that time?
Those who explored that deep into the forest and the jungle.
Never lived to tell that tale.
ended up with a banana in their arse.
They didn't want to tell the world what happened, so they never mentioned them.
They don't exist, honest, they don't. Let's talk about something else. The way I'm thinking about it is there are still many tribes in the world that haven't been interacted with by modern civilizations.
Would be dickheads to try as well. Just leave them to their ways.
So maybe that's kind of like that with gorillas. They were in quite isolated locations that
Pockets.
civilization had no need to go within.
Way down deep in the middle of the jungle.
Till some dirty conquistador or whatever went probing. So you're going on Bongo.
I am.
I'm going the Donkey Kong cartoon. Hoo ha, hoo ha, Donkey Kong. Hey yo, Donkey Kong, let's go, let's go. Here we go, banana slammer, Congo Bongo's hero.
I have no recollection of that.
I wonder if that song is copyrighted.
I'm sure
Who
you
gives a
put
shit at this
enough
point?
of a twist on it.
As I explained, Doris's visit to the neighbour was fleeting.
Like a fart on the wind.
As Doris returned home to her still burning... Right, why is it every time... Why is it every time we say fleeting, you just drop a fart in the wind? Every time.
I'm choking to death.
Oh dear. Right. As Doris returned home to her still burning fire in the living room, Doris absolutely crapped her undercrackers because crouching over that fire was a huge grey-haired creature, the type of which Doris had never even heard about, let alone seen.
It was a wild Kevin the Grey.
Doris tried to scream, but her vocal cords wouldn't fire up. Doris turned, pants squelching, and ran. Moments after running away, Doris returned with her neighbours, strength in numbers, and they all had pitchforks in hand because, you see, Doris was a badass gang leader. Forest granny, F the streets, you've got to be real tough to survive in the woods. Doris knew Kung Fu. Doris burst back into that living room, ready to open a can of whoop-ass on this creature, but, alas, the beast was gone. Humans share 98.4% of their DNA with gorillas, making them our third most closely related species after chimpanzees and bonobos. This means that gorillas are vulnerable to human illnesses, such as the common cold. Gorillas haven't developed immunities to our disease, so the impacts can be severe. Would you describe yourself as more gorilla or chimp, Granville?
That's racist.
What way? Racism's no laughing matter, I'll have you know, Mr. Moonwalker.
I know you're going to cut this, but Calvin kept calling me a gorilla.
I'm going to leave that in now.
You can't because I just name bombed him.
Well, that's a friend of the show who does listen, so... Hi, Calvin!
Gorilla. Now you're going to wonder if I'm saying I'm more like a gorilla or I've just called him one.
I'm just trying to remember what actually happened in the last section because I've got distracted by the gorilla facts and gorilla chat. Yes. Doris saw the figure, went to get some granny friends, street crew, came back, it was gone. And that account is completely legitimate. That did happen, just there wasn't a name, so I attached the name to it.
It was Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong. When I take my trousers off, you see my donkey schlong. Why has Donkey Kong got a sultry voice? Hey, Diddy.
Did he ever have a voice?
In the cartoon?
Yeah.
Hey, yo. Everyone, let's go, let's go. Here we comes Banana Slammer.
Was that just the intro?
You're looking at me so blankly. Yes, at the end of this episode, I will play it for you.
Okay.
Now, after those events, you can imagine what the locals said. Gorilla! They obviously said gorilla. A gorilla had been transported from Africa to Liverpool to Hull and on to Germany during 1876, with the gorilla having been first identified by humans in 1847, as we covered. The people at this time were aware of gorillas. A gorilla was said to have escaped from a travelling menagerie, aka a touring exotic animal exhibition, close to Bridgnorth about 6 weeks before this event. Coincidence? Or do we have an alternative explanation for this sighting already? A cold gorilla looking for a little warmth. Oh, I like it hot. There are 2 species of gorilla, the eastern gorilla and the western gorilla, each with 2 subgroups. East side and west side, baby! The mountain gorilla is a subspecies of the east side gorilla. Oh. West side. Throw them dubs. You got gangster gorillas in the forests.
I mean, they do roam around in gangs. If you step on,
that's going to be a fact we cover later on, actually.
On their turf, they will murder you.
Potentially, yes. I mean, there are those videos online, aren't there, where people fall into the gorilla enclosures and one of 2 things happen. Either the gorillas are surprisingly gentle with the children that fall in and don't attack them, or gorilla does gorilla things and murks anything that comes in its territory. There's no in between.
I have no evidence on this, but isn't this based on how the gorillas are treated by humans in general?
I think it's probably more likely to be instinct, because I can't imagine any...
What do they look like?
What, the gorillas?
No, so the kids that fall in the enclosure, what do they look like to the gorilla?
Baby gorilla?
Because we see it as a kid. Do they see it as another form of ape, monkey, something that's come into their...
Yeah, possibly. Or
territory?
Just a child, because some animals are naturally gentle with children of other species.
Yeah.
Dogs, for example, certain breeds of doddies, are gentle with babies.
That is true.
Imagine just transporting a gorilla across the country. Crazy job.
You've seen King Kong?
Hey, yo. On the 21st of January 1879 at 10 p.m, a travelling labourer we shall name Derek was travelling towards Bridge 39 of the Shropshire Union Canal via Horsey. It was dark and quiet.
Sorry. Is it horsey or horsey?
Horsey. The sort of horse that would leave milk in your trainers.
Shaving foam in your shoes.
Indeed. It was dark and quiet. Too quiet. As Derek approached the bridge, a strange black creature with big white eyes jumped out from the bushes and onto Derek's horse's back. Derek tried to fight the creature off, whipping at the beast, but Derek's whip went straight through the creature. That's right, we're dealing with a Pokemon. Derek fell to the floor, absolutely filling his pants. The horse stormed off with the creature still clinging to the horse's back. In the distance, Derek witnessed the creature vanish from the horse. It used teleport. Derek eventually arrived on foot at the town of Woodsieves, a mile away, and shared the experience after he went to the Pokemon Centre to heal up. Some of the locals stayed in the pub all night. scared to travel along Bridge 39 back home. Derek later returned home to Derek's master, and the master confirmed that Derek was stone cold sober and still petrified to the point that Derek remained in bed for several days. Locals searched the area near Bridge 39 the next day, and they recovered Derek's whip exactly where Derek had described the event to have taken place. The standard silverback mountain gorilla is about 5'5" tall on all fours and weighs 180 kilograms or about 30 stone. Female mountain gorillas are about half the weight, 90 kilograms at 4'9" tall. Eastern lowland gorillas are around 220 kilograms, close to 35 stone, that's 485 pounds. They've been known to get as big as 250 kilograms, 550 pounds, which is nearly 40 stone. Western Gs are slightly smaller.
So we have a...
Biggies from the east side are bigger than the west side. Yes, I have...
an artist's rendition of this attack.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to the horse?
Ran off.
And there's no trace of this horse ever again?
Not that I could find. Never to be seen again.
So out there, somewhere, is a gorilla riding a horse to this day.
Roams the countryside.
Now, I would have assumed that it had jumped onto the horse's back to attack, either got scared because it got too close, so went to defend itself, or it did it to eat the horse.
Mm-hmm.
However,
to me,
I don't think there's any record of gorillas eating horses.
I've never ever had the need to look that up, so I have no idea. But then, as they were into the distance, remember the gorilla vanished. Donkey gone.
Did it just jump off or
Vanished.
disappear into
Just
thin
vanished.
air? But what about the horse?
Kept on going.
So he never went back for the horse?
No, not that I could see.
Okay. Never called his horse back?
He was petrified and probably not in a fit state to do anything apart from going.
So what we have here is a gorilla that freed the horse.
Freedom gorilla.
Goes around freeing different animals.
I must liberate my people.
Liberation for all animals.
Ah, what's that?
Animal Farm.
No, is it Caesar, the ape from Planet of the Apes?
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
Freedom. They could never take our freedom.
Ape together, strong.
Ape and horse?
Ape.
Stronger.
Oh, kill ape. Ah. Planet of the Apes, they ride horses.
There you go. This is how it begun.
Before anyone argues that they're not gorillas, there are some gorillas in that crew that do ride apes. I know this because I watched a film the other day.
Ride apes or ride horses? Sorry.
Ride horses.
You got me very confused there. Like, surely the gorillas would be the ride-e, not the rider. Gorilla riding a chimpanzee. Woohoo! The police visited Derek several days later, having heard that a distressed man had arrived in town and thinking that Derek had been robbed. When the police learned what had happened to Derek, the officer was almost disappointed. The officer said, "Oh, I know what that was. That was the man monkey, sir. As does come again at that bridge ever since the man was drowned in the cut." The police knew.
Ooh.
Charlotte Sophia Byrne, who later became the first female president of the Folklore Society in 1909, was soon on the scene to investigate. The society studied music, customs, arts and beliefs. The account I paraphrased moments ago came from Charlotte's own investigation completed at the time. Gorillas have about 16 different barks and calls. Gorillas beat their chest to intimidate rivals. So if you see a gorilla beating on its chest, it probably thinks that you want to doink its lady friend. And it would be right.
Greybeard has included a picture of a monkey flipping, I would say, me off.
You specifically. That photo was taken with a picture of you in front of it.
If you were confronted by a gorilla yourself,
yeah,
and it was beating its chest, would you
beat back and hope for the best?
Chest, yeah, or would you back down?
I would take my shirt off, and the gorilla would see that I am hairier than it and become intimidated and run away. How quick?
However, you are full of grey. Therefore, would it see you old?
No.
Decrepit.
Dominant.
Therefore,
absolutely dominant.
It would want to take your spot.
£550? I'll beat down a gorilla.
Beat down or beat off?
Out comes the banana. How quick? I mean, £550, you're not running fast, are you?
They can fucking move. I mean, the issue is, when you think of that weight, you think of people that don't move at that weight.
Yeah, but gorillas are
very, I was about to say athletic, very agile. They're constantly on the move. They have that strength and power. Therefore, they use it often.
But is it stamina or is it explosive power?
Oh, it's probably going to be explosive.
So I'm outrunning. Well, to be fair, am I outrunning the gorilla? I mean, my options here are get a banana up my arse or try to run away and take my chances.
Beat your chest.
And get the banana up my arse. There's only, I mean, chances are I'm getting a banana regardless, so I might as well try and run away.
Yeah.
But I wonder if it's one of those animals where if you maintain eye contact and slowly back off without turning your back, whether that would give you more of a gap to then peg it when you're far enough away before you get pegged.
In your eyes, are you becoming a smaller object to the gorilla? Yes. Therefore weaker. Therefore it's going to
it's getting harder.
Its dominance even more.
It's like, I'm going to take this shit now.
It's literally sitting there going, you going to take this banana.
I've been saving this. I knew you'd come.
Greybeard and the banana. Gotta call this episode Greybeard's Banana.
I really don't.
But you should.
That's donkey wrong, son. It's time to meet Ned. This account made its way to a UFO researcher via the researcher's father's friend, Eddie's great uncle, who relayed that at the end of the 1800s, though we don't have the exact year, a gentleman named Ned was driving a horse and cart near Birmingham in Rolfe Street, Smethwick. Suddenly, Ned heard an unusual noise behind, and no sooner did Ned turn around than a beastie leapt at Ned, just like it had Derek years earlier. Ned was a badass. Ned knew Kung Fu. Ned was able to fight and indeed kill this unusual beast using Ned's bare hands and horsewhip. The creature was soon put on display in a glass case at the Bluegate pub on Rolfe Street. The creature was named Old Ned's Devil by locals and remained on display for many years. Sadly, the creature has since vanished with no trace, though a likely fourth incarnation of the pub and former hotel do still stand on the site today. Gorillas are generally shy and peaceful unless they feel threatened.
So we have no evidence of this creature being put in that pub.
We don't have the physical evidence of the creature in the crates or the cabinet or whatever, but we have accounts from the time detailing that there was a creature in a crate. If that makes sense. So we know this happened.
Are the accounts by trustworthy souls, or are they by just anyone?
Would you classify a landlord of a pub as a trustworthy source?
How well was the pub doing?
Better once it had this thing in it.
How likely is it that they killed a street urchin and dressed them up in a monkey suit?
I mean, I'm not saying it was unlikely. But remember, we've got a reliable source here. We've got a UFO
Ned's
researcher's father's friend's Eddie's
son.
great uncle. I didn't even question who Eddie is. It's my dad's friend Eddie's great uncle.
Brother, sister's son. On a dad's side.
Twice removed, then put back together. Many accounts down the ages have been shared locally, but they have gone formally unrecorded. Ned's tale was well enough known, however, that in 2002, British Waterways, who later became the Canal and River Trust, asked the public for their stories of the man monkey. A person who had visited the canal area during the 1980s responded. The gentleman witness shared that during the 80s, the gentleman took the tiller, which is basically a canal boat steering lever, whilst the gentleman's family prepared lunch inside a boat on the canal. The man looked up at a bridge and froze as the gentleman saw a huge black monkey-typed creature staring back down at him from the bridge. The boat continued on under the bridge, and as the boat came out the other side, the gentleman looked back to find that the creature was gone. What the F was that thing? The man wondered, but he'd never see such a beast again. Gorillas live in troops of about 20, with one dominant male who will protect the group. Troops have been documented to get as large as 50 gorillas on occasion. Isai. That man, as he was going under the bridge, he must have been bricking it thinking the gorilla was going to jump off into his boat.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be quite scary, though, if you look up and there's just this dark figure just ominously on top of the bridge. Also, how did you know they were looking at him?
You can kind of tell when something's looking at you. There's obviously a chance you're wrong, but if something vicious looking is looking in your general direction, it's probably safe to assume that it's looking at you and you need to take evasive action. But he was going down a canal. There wasn't really much he could do. It's not like he could turn a canal boat around.
Do you know what I would do? I would
beat your chest.
As the boat goes under the bridge, I would ready myself to sweet chin music or RKO this thing as it comes down out of nowhere.
What if the gorilla had a reversal saved?
Then I'd find a banana where I don't want a banana. I would feel your pain.
It's time that we ask ourselves, what is the man monkey of Staffordshire, aka the man monkey of Shropshire Union Canal, aka Old Ned's devil? Are we talking about a legitimate, feral, ginormous monkey? I say monkey, but obviously I've been given gorilla facts throughout the probe because this creature sounds more like a gorilla. But are we actually talking about the unsettled spirit of a worker who drowned in the canal, as those police officers detailed earlier? Perhaps even a monkey worker? Regardless, the spirit now appears to be trapped in gorilla form for whatever reason. Cryptozoologist George M. Eberhardt supports a ghost monkey theory, but we have no explanation as to why a man would become a primate. Well, a hairier primate. The fact that one of the creatures was killed does also suggest that either there are more than one of these bastards, or that we are actually dealing with different creatures in each sighting here. We mentioned that a gorilla was rumoured to have escaped in this area about 6 weeks before the original sighting too. Could it be that simple? The average bite force of a lion or tiger is 1,000 per square inch PSI. The average bite force of a gorilla is 1,300 PSI. Humans are about 150 to 200 PSI. Chompy.
What's the average bite force of a crocodile or alligator?
1 second. That's an interesting question.
I did not ask it just so I could eat a squishy.
2,125 PSI.
They have the most powerful...
Oh, that's an alligator. The strongest known bite force of the entire animal kingdom is the crocodile. That's the T-Rex. Specifically, the saltwater crocodile. The highest recorded live bite was 3,700, and the Nile crocodile was estimated 4,000 to 5,000 PSI.
Ooh. Compared to a crocodile, this is a little bitch.
Well,
however,
in or near water.
Compared to us.
I ask you though, sir, does the crocodile have a banana? What you got to think about?
If it did, it loses the fight.
The crocodile's got one main weapon. The gorilla could F you up with any of its limbs as well.
That's true.
Or it can belly flop on you. Crocodile's just got to get you in its mouth and death roll and whatnot. If you can get your thumb right in his butthole, you stand a chance.
It's him, my thumb in his butthole.
Whereas the gorilla has its own thumbs.
Do we have any eyewitness accounts here of how tall this thing was? Was it hunched, or did everyone kind of see it in that kind of as it attacked? I know we've got...
No one got an exact measure of the git.
So we don't have... I know we have the one in the pub, but that could just be a street urchin that has been tarred and feathered, or put in a monkey suit.
Or, to play devil's advocate, the landlord could have got like the skeleton of a hare or something maybe a little bit bigger, and glued some other bones and whatnot to it and turned it into a beast to attract the punters. Handmade. Because it's gone missing, we can't verify.
Might have got a stray dog, killed the dog, splayed it, cut the head off, found a street urchin, killed them, put the head of the street urchin on the dog body.
What's your problem with street urchins today?
We're in the realm of street urchins. That's the kind of times, isn't it?
I have no idea. I'm not too familiar with street urchins.
I mean, street urchins are about today still, aren't they? You can go anywhere and see a street urchin.
But yeah, every single sighting, obviously when Doris walked in on the fire, she was all flustered and legged it, so didn't really get a clocking of the height. The only one who would have got a measurement of the height would have been the pub. But obviously it's gone missing and they haven't documented how big it was.
Could have been like Medina.
It could have been, it could have been hung up quite high on the wall and looked bigger than it was. Who knows? But that is that, sir. In summary, we've covered the December 1878 Marley Wood, Shropshire sighting of a hairy grey beastie in a lady's living room. Having momentarily shat her pants and legged it, the beastie vanished by the time the lady here returned with her crew. We connected that 1878 sighting to an 1879 sighting nearby, whereby a hairy creature pounced on a chap and rode off on their horse. The police investigated and determined that this one was the well-known ghost of a worker who had drowned nearby. We didn't even unpick that bit, did we? The police were just like, oh, that's just a ghost. Why are they so comfortable with that? We then covered an event in Smethwick at the end of the 1800s whereby a gentleman, Ned, was pounced upon by a hairy beastie. Ned fought the creature with Ned's bare hands and whip, and Ned killed the creature. Ned took the beast to a local pub where the creature was displayed in a case for many years before vanishing without trace. We covered one more sighting of this creature during the 1980s, whereby the creature watched the chap on a canal boat sailing beneath before vanishing after the boat went under a bridge. We questioned whether this beast was just that, a monkey beast or gorilla, or whether it was, in fact, the spirit of a deceased workman in the area, just as the police believed in the 1800s. Or could this have been one of the little hairy guys that would later visit our episode 1 pal, Mr. David Huggins? That's the case, so before Mr. Moonwalker confirms whether there is anything he wants to double back over, gorillas in the wild live about 35 to 40 years, and in captivity up to about 50 years. So gorillas have about the same life expectancy as humans pre-modern medicine and mechanical advances.
Everyone loved an Indiana Jones whip back then, didn't they?
Yeah. Did everyone was it part of like standard dress code that everyone had one?
Had a whip.
But it doesn't matter unless you've got the hat to go with it. So you can cast the silhouette.
Were there, at the time, pockets of people that lived in the wild? In the
1800s?
Yeah. Just stayed away and lived in the woods.
I suppose there is today. You get homeless people living in parks and stuff, don't you?
So at this point, they just
There was
kind of
probably more
lived in
parks.
a settlement like of their own.
Possible.
And to survive, they stole horses, like attacked people, and
Yeah, possible.
they had, obviously to keep themselves warm, they,
May have grown their hair out.
I was going to say, grown their hair, made clothes that used foliage and other things to kind of stealth themselves. These are the first SAS using the foliage for stealth. Well, I wouldn't say the first, they're nowhere near the first, but they utilised those tactics in the wild and attacked people.
So you're not querying the fact the attacks happened, but you're leaning towards humans.
Yeah.
So on that note, are you saying that it was spooky simian?
No.
Okay, well, I'm... what am I saying? This case was always going to be a hard sell, but it's always interesting to see similar sightings in the same area over a few years. That in itself lends some credibility to an otherwise bonkers account. I'd imagine the Ned sighting specifically could have been bullshit, with the pub landlord making a creature to display and attaching a story to it to bring in the punters, as I said. But outside of that, I do weirdly think that it's possible that a monkey or ape-like creature or creatures escaped nearby and were seen for a little bit by locals. Not spookies, but simians, possibly?
So, on that note, I do think that is possible, but the stories that we've heard, I do not believe are.
Yeah, the Derek sighting could have just been an excuse for a drunken workman who lost their horse and didn't want to catch heat for it. But, see, I know there have been stories. I mean, I mentioned one of them, the story about the gorilla being transported all around for like the circus and whatnot. That kind of stuff did happen. People had all sorts of exotic pets they shouldn't have in these kind of times. Mm-hmm. So I think that one of these accounts may have been a gorilla, so partially simian apes. Yes, I'm saying that it was half simians, and yes, I've been making this podcast for too long.
We have a story like that locally. About someone owning a exotic animal that they shouldn't have done, and it's buried at a pub nearby.
Yeah, what was the animal?
A lion.
Lion, yeah, I have. I think we might have mentioned that once before, actually, but we've definitely discussed it off air. Well, before we close out, one final gorilla fact. The average gorilla is 6 times stronger than the average human. So 7 times stronger than Mr. Moonwalker. Any final thoughts, Mr. Moonwalker?
None. Little bitch.
Before we wrap up, if you were in like the 1800s and were going to have an exotic pet, obviously very wrong and you wouldn't do it, but if you had to, what would you have gone for? Yeah.
Any?
Any.
Right. Just the fact that this would... No, it couldn't be a possible thing because there's not a lot of like water around. I mean, killer whale would be number one, but fucking moose.
Why?
Moose.
They're really aggressive.
But they're massive.
Yeah.
But it would be docile, like, to you. You got to think, like, how Moxley is with you.
Yeah.
That moose would
Okay, and it just ruined any visitors you ever had. Weirdly for me, obviously not my favourite animal.
Ride a moose to work.
Oh, actually, I've got 2 thoughts. So my first thought was a flock of meerkat, just gonna be funny to watch them like run around in your front garden.
You said one animal.
Yeah, one type of animal. I don't just want one meerkat. I need a crew. He's safe.
Well,
We're safe.
If I've got a crew, I'm going wolves.
All right, dancers with wolves. Or if it was just one animal, a sloth, because I just think that'd be kind of cool.
Kind of
I feel
boring,
like,
though.
but a lot of animals, like obviously my favourite is an orangutan, but I feel like that would be really, really harsh on the orangutan. I mean, this is harsh on any animal, but an orangutan needs its forest. Whereas I feel like a sloth could be quite happy with me.
What's it going to climb?
I'd build climbing frames and all sorts. And it'd just chill, have its share of food. Maybe we'd invite a lady sloth or a gentleman sloth over every now and then, whatever takes its fancy.
Moose.
You come around to the sloth idea.
Moose if I could only pick one. Wolves if I could have a pack.
Why wolves?
Because they're like killer whales of the land.
Are they?
Killer whales are the wolves of the sea.
That's clearly a tagline you've read somewhere.
I've done some extensive studying of killer whales.
Alright, how big is a
Do
killer whale's
not
bum?
give me any killer whale facts to produce right now.
Could a human pass through the mouth of a killer whale and come out of its butthole whole?
How big's a human?
Me size.
Yes, not a problem.
Right, that is a wrap.
Hold on.
No, it's
you
not a wrap.
size or the you size that I portray on this podcast?
That's specifically why I said me-sized. That is a wrap for today. So, as always, thank you dearly and sincerely for listening to But It Was Aliens. Thank you even more to those that have shared the show and helped us to grow. And thank you the most as ever to those
the show and helped us to grow.
To those that have supported the show on patreon.com/But It Was Aliens. On the Patreon, each month, we release a bonus episode we call a Side Probe, where we cover a lengthy, spicy, or absolutely bonkers paranormal case. You can gain access to the Side Probes for about the cost of a coffee, and we will allegedly promise that we truthfully won't use that money in our pursuit of world domination. Outside of that, if you want to get in touch, you can probe us on the artist formerly known as the Twitter, at But It Was Aliens.
On that Twitter.
And you can find us under that same handle pretty much everywhere else online, from Instagram and Threads to Facebook, where connected to the But It Was Aliens page, you can find our secret public group that's also private called Extraterrestrial Towers. That's it for this episode. So until next time, I have one more fact for you rather than a mystery question. The erect gorilla penis is 3 to 6 centimetres long. The erect chimp dick is up to 18 centimetres. The truth is up there. Hashtag
Banana.
Would you rather be a chimp or gorilla?
To do what?
Whatever springs to mind.
Go on, gorilla.
All right, 3 centimetre dick boy.
It's fine. I can kill you. You won't exist.
It ain't what I got, it's how I use it.